What up, athletes? Welcome back to my channel. And this is Middle Street. Right, this is Middle Street in Georgetown, Guyana. That's East Street, and that's the Balwant Singh Hospital. Dr. Balwant Singh Hospital. And that's Middle Street looking west. It's about 6:15 a.m. in the morning. That's East Street. They actually turned this avenue between the two halves of East Street into a parking lot for, I guess, the hospital corridor. Alright, that's what used to be running the length of East Street. That is trees on both sides of an avenue. And the government, in its wisdom, decided to close off East Street to extend the hospital, the Georgetown Hospital. At the end, that blue building is part of the Georgetown Hospital compound, and they turned the avenue into a parking lot. Somebody asked me to give you an update on Middle Street, so I'm going to take a walk down Middle Street. Right, this is Middle Street. Middle Street, Cummingsburg, as the sign says. Right, that's Middle Street, Cummingsburg. And this is Modern Optical. Somebody wanted to see an update of Middle Street in the context of the new buildings that are going up. But the reason why we're on Middle Street today is because there was a fire. Another school went up in flames. Empire is a shopping center. Seems to have a lot of storage on the upper floors. Medicine Chest is a pharmacy. That's Modern Optical sunglass place, and this is also the Silver House of Optics. Another not sunglass but spectacles, what we call eyeglasses place. This is another optical place, and this is the Georgetown Hospital, the south end of the Georgetown Hospital compound. At Zoom, they do online shopping, so people can order stuff, and they order stuff online, that is, and they will purchase it and deliver it for you. This is one of the administrative buildings in the Georgetown Hospital compound. Morning. Right at the southern end of the Georgetown Hospital. That's the new multi-story office building that I showed in a previous video coming up on Thomas Street. And this is a incomplete, probably commercial building, probably both residential and commercial building. This building at the corner here of Thomas Street and Middle Street used to be the Medical Arts Center, which is another private hospital. Don't know if they're still there, or maybe this building over here is associated with them because that property was also theirs. So this used to be the Medical Arts Center, which was a smaller hospital, a cottage hospital. And this is Thomas Street, another street with an avenue. Right, so trees on both sides. Along Thomas Street there you have Eureka Medical Labs and their heart center, and on the other side you have this building that was donated by Dr. Yusuf Prasad. Yusuf Prasad was a banker responsible for DDL and Demerara Bank, and he donated that building. He donated that building with his name at the top of it to the Georgetown Hospital complex. Now, like I said, there was another fire. I showed you this building. You want to see a review of that building I showed in the previous video. This is Fraser and Hoosty. It's a law offices. So this used to be a mostly residential street, but now it's become almost completely commercial. Alright, one of the commercial that used to be the Medical Arts Center, that cottage hospital I mentioned. This is the Guyana Power and Lighting Authority head office. This is not where you pay your bills. This is where the people who actually supervise the running of the company operate from. These are their offices. This is a new building. See again, look at the form factor of these buildings. Narrow because the lots were narrow. That's a new building on Camp Street, the next intersection coming up. But this is a new building on Middle Street. And like I said in some previous videos, the form factor of these buildings is dictated by the plot of land on which they're built. This one is probably on 2 pieces of land. It's a residential building, rental with rental units. That is Tyrosine, Canada Inc., another pharmacy. This one is probably on 1.5 lots. And this here is the end of, well, it's not the end, it's the part of Middle Street where commercial buildings have overtaken residential buildings. Here we have Church's Chicken, which is a fast food joint. Church's Chicken. But what we're here to see is this happening. It's the Christchurch Secondary School. So this is the Christchurch Secondary School only yesterday, but now it's on fire. It was lit on fire. In fact, there are people who believe this is arson because there were unsuccessful attempts to light the school on fire in the last few days, and last night apparently somebody succeeded in lighting the school on fire right here on Middle Street. There you have a sign. It says Carl Llewellyn Hooper, cricketer, and that's the Christchurch Secondary School. Now this is Camp Street. Done a video on Camp Street. You want to go take a look at it. It's one of the most popular videos in the Walk With Me series, Walk With Me on Camp Street. Now this is what an avenue, this is what most of the streets running north-south used to look like, an avenue with trees on both sides. And these are some new buildings that they've built in the last, 2 or 3 years. That's the GRA, Guyana Revenue Authority, and that's a new commercial building. Not sure what it's going to be used for, but it looks like a commercial building. That is, or used to be, this building at the corner here used to be a fast food joint with quick serve and so on. But back to the Christchurch Secondary School. This gives you the context of what's happening here. This is the 3rd high school that has been burnt to the ground in as many years, in 3 years. Christchurch Secondary School is located on prime real estate in Georgetown, and Georgetown is going through a building construction boom. The prices are escalating like nobody's business, the price of land and property, and there are people who believe that this school located on prime real estate would be a target for arson, because unfortunately that's the history of property life cycle in Georgetown. If your business is not doing well, you light it on fire, collect insurance, and then you build a bigger building. And what probably is going to happen here is that somebody decided that they wanted this property and they were going to destroy it and then pressure the government to turn it over to private hands. Now, That's speculation. I have no evidence of this, but this is just the history of what has been happening here in Guyana in the oil boom economy of 2023. Since 2020, when Guyana started producing oil, prices of property have started escalating, and there's been a land grab, politically driven, where the government has been trying to dispossess and repossess land from some citizens and turning it over to other citizens, usually their supporters and the people of the moneyed classes. And this is prime real estate. Like I said, it's on Middle Street, which has become a commercial corridor with a lot of businesses going up. And this school, which is a government-run secondary school, has become a target. Now, why do we think it's arson? Because just a few days ago it was reported that there was somebody attempted to light the school on fire, but it was caught in time. They put the fire out, and this is like 3 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, and they removed all the chemicals from the laboratory so to make sure that there was no possibility of accidental fire. And then suddenly, last evening, the school is on fire again, and this time we think it's not an accident. Now, there are people who are speculating that it could be an electrical fire, but given the fact that the St. George's School, which in fact was on fire, and in fact I showed you that video, I showed you that school burning in a video previously. It's still one of the most watched videos on this channel in 2022. St. George's School has not yet been reconstructed, and it's the burnt out remains are still there. I pass it every day just along Church Street, near to St. George's Cathedral, and opposite this new insurance building, Shuria. Now, this is the second school. It's located about 2 blocks away that was has been burnt, literally destroyed, where the school children, the children who attend this school, are no longer able to at least come to this location. It's the beginning of the Easter term. You know, we have 3 terms in the school system in Guyana. We have an Easter term, an August term or summer term, and a Christmas term. The Easter term starts in January, ends at Easter, and you had a 2-week break. And then the August term starts in April, usually the end of April or May, or beginning of May, and ends at the beginning of August for the August break. End of July, you get a 2-month break or month and a half break for summer, and then this Christmas term starts in September and ends in December. So this is the beginning of the Easter term in Guyana, and these kids who attend this school have lost their school to what is believed to be arson, and what is believed to be a property war, basically a grab for land in one of the most rapidly growing areas. Now, if you ask for price of property in this street or along this corridor, people are asking millions of US dollars. You know, for a piece of residential land, they want like $500,000 US. And I'm telling you, this is not Miami, this is not New York, this is Georgetown Guyana, the tropics, right? So they used to say behind God's back. So what's happening here is somebody has decided that this building is on land that they want, and that is my speculation. It's probably the speculation of most people, because schools don't burn every day. All right, and we've had 3 fires. The North Georgetown Multilateral School was either set on fire or accidentally lit on fire, burnt during the pandemic. Then there was the St. George's School fire that burned during 2022. Like this is a car that melted, the rear end melted because of the fire. So there's some damage here. This one is also melted because of the heat. So there's clearly a lot of external damage. The heat, just the radiant heat from that fire, destroyed some of the neighboring property. So the fire seems to have been confined to the school itself, but next door it seems as if there was damage to the building next door. And the fire engines are still here. Alright, the fire engines are still here, monitoring the fire. It's almost done. And there are police barricades blocking off the end. This is a commercial building. Technic FMC. That's next door to, and next door to the school. And the smoke, you can see this smoke and embers still coming from the building, the Christ Church Secondary School building. And next door, these are still residential buildings, but most of them are now converting into commercial, residential, or just commercial buildings. Right, commercial buildings. This one I think is a rental property for some condominium, like the building we saw further up the street. But this is what's happening here, guys. It's on Friday morning, Friday the 13th, Georgetown, Guyana. This is another hotel, King's Hotel in residences. And because of all of this construction, because of all of this demand for land and property, they've targeted these schools. The schools are being targeted. That's the Middle Street looking towards Christchurch School fire. And here we're at the corner of Waterloo Street. This is Waterloo Street in Georgetown, Waterloo Street and Middle Street. We're at the corner of Waterloo Street and Middle Street. That's Parade Ground, Independence Park, and that's the Gardens. It's another gardens in the center of the city. The small park, Waterloo Street. Like I said, these streets that ran north, south in this section of the city from Main Street to East Street were all these avenues with trees on both sides. The next one is Carmichael, and the last one at the end of the block is Main Street. But yes, guys, this fire on Middle Street draws attention to the fact that this street has become a commercial street, and there are probably business interests, financial interests, political interests who are interested in moving schools, public schools, government-run public schools off of prime property. Now, there's another school, there's a St. John's School, which is located in this block that is on Waterloo Street. Let's see if you can get a look at it. It's set back in the property, you can't see it from here. Mentioned it in a video previously where I looked at a walk along Waterloo Street. But all of these schools have now targets for fires, because, and arson particularly, because of course people want the property to put up buildings, commercial buildings. This is Promenade Gardens. Like I said, it's one of the pieces of prime real estate. It's now like the botanical gardens, an oasis in the middle of the city, but those who are greedy for money and power might want to turn this into commercial property too. There's going to be a fight to keep it, of course, because there are people who think it needs to be kept as a reserve. But that's Middle Street looking east as the sun rises towards the fire. All that smoke is where the fire at Christchurch Secondary School took place. This is an overgrown parade ground and Independence Park. Let's see if you can get a look at the signage that's there. That's parade ground 1812 and 1966 they named it Independence Park. This is a little descriptor of parade ground. I don't know if you'll be able to read that. Parade ground in Independence Park, and then of course there's Burnham Court, which used to be a basketball court at the western end of the parade ground, and Independence Park. Coming up here is Carmichael Street. Carmichael Street is, of course, the street on which the president's residence is located, and made the news recently because somebody tried to breach the perimeter, tried to get into the compound, wanted a meeting with the president just before Christmas, and stabbed with a knife, stabbed one of the guards, wounding him, and the guards returned fire and he was shot. So now this street where the president officially the president's official residence is located has become off limits. This kind of restricted. You can't really get too close to it because now everybody is treated with suspicion. Apparently that young man who committed that crime tried to breach the perimeter of the official residence was Nigerian, or at least that's what the media says. It's not necessarily true, because of course the media can be just as wrong sometimes as some of the gossip columns. This is Burnham basketball court. There's some stands there. Used to be a place for basketball players in Georgetown. I don't know if they still hang out there anymore. But we're coming up to the end of Middle Street. Again, more commercial buildings. BPI Guyana Receiving here, Middle Street, and Carmichael Street. Vista Trading and Logistics. This is another logistics services building. On this side, it's a financial services building. MP Insurance. This is a Commission of Inquiry building. Okay, and it's Frandec, which is a travel service. Story about Frandec, in fact, this travel service has been around for a very long time. I remember back in the early 1990s when I first started traveling to Europe, they arranged my flights to London and Rome and Milan and so on. If it were like in the 1990s, 1990, 1995, in that period, they were the biggest travel service in Guyana. This is the Hibiscus Restaurant and Lounge over here, and this is World Travel Service, another travel agent, and This is Trustco Cambio, hand in hand, life insurance building. But yeah, that was it. Frandec was the premier travel agency in Guyana during the 90s. And everybody who wanted to book flights, that's before the internet, went to a travel agent. And the leading agent was Frandec. Coming to the end of Middle Street. Here is Main Street. And Main Street is another avenue, the last one before you get to the last avenue, that is, before you get to the river. If we go one block west of Main Street, we get to Water Street, and that is the last street before you get to the river, the Demerara River. This is the last avenue. The president's official residence extends for the entire block in the middle of the block between Main and Carmichael. That is Main Street, the avenue on Main Street. This is where they had the Christmas village, and these buildings, the one here at the corner of Main Street and Middle Street, is a well-known bar. Here it is, Palm Court. It's a well-known nightclub and bar. That is Sacred Heart Roman Catholic Church. So that's it, guys. This is what Middle Street looks like now. You've gone the entire length. It's not a long street, but somebody asked me to give you a walking tour on Middle Street, and that's it. That's what Middle Street looks like today. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in Georgetown, Guyana. Remember, I'm reorganizing the channel. We're going to turn it into multiple channels. We're going to split the channel into multiple channels so that you get content purity, so that all of these walking tours are going to stay on this main channel, that is Raffle Nation Main. But I'm going to give you the link and the description below to all of the other channels that we're going to be spinning off from the main channel, so you get a channel specifically for business, for fun, for food, and so on. So remember, you can now purchase merchandise from my store. I'm going to give you also the link to that store in the description below. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in Georgetown, Guyana. Later.